let's make a sound. Smack that ball, spin it around. Courts alive, the vibe is real. Pickleball life is the ultimate deal. Balls deep, we go, no holding back. On the court or in the chat.
Welcome to Balls Deep, a pickleball podcast with Camille Zilvetti
and Ava Ignatowicz. We're here today to discuss something very, very important. Do pro pickleball players make money?
Do they?
Great question. Yeah, so the top 10 definitely do. I'd say the top 10 on the PPA tour at least all make six figures.
Oh, easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where does this money come from? Brand deals, tour prize money, appearance fees. Anything else?
Clinics, camps.
Clinics. Are the top 10 doing clinics and camps?
Yeah, I would say that a lot of them are. It's just an easy way to make a couple $1,000s in a weekend. I know that up until a couple months ago, my brother James Ignatowicz, who is a top 10 player, was doing a clinic or a camp almost every single weekend.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I know that a lot of them are doing clinics and camps. And there's super high earning potential for the best players.
Yeah, definitely. I would say there's a bunch of low earning potential. Talk about the people that are outside of the top 10.
Yeah, so the people that are outside of the top 10, for the people who weren't signed during the tour war situation, and so a brief history lesson on that, there was a period where MLP and PPA, that's Major League Pickleball and the PPA Tour,
Professional Pickleball Association,
had a falling out where they were signing a bunch of players to exclusivity deals.
Yep.
And having them sign contracts where they would promise to either play for MLP or PPA. So a lot of players who were playing during that time got super lucky and got signed to a great contract worth a really good amount of money.
What are these amount of monies? How much are we talking about? $20? Is that a good amount of money? Because I mean, before playing on the tour, I played pickleball for free, and I was actually paying to play. So for me, $20 was strongly net positive. But how much are we talking about here?
So I think that a lot of players, somewhat in the 100K to 400K range, and then the top players signed contracts worth $1 million. Are we allowed to say who?
I think we won't specify anyone specific on any of these. From my understanding, back when the tour wars were happening, I believe MLP openly was broadcasting that they were paying a minimum of $60,000 a year for the lowest base of players. So you can name say for MLP players, if they originally signed with MLP, that's probably the number that you're kind of getting at the very minimum. And then obviously, if you're a better performer, the numbers kind of inflated. Maybe you had a recent tournament result, I believe, I will name him, Julian Arnold had recently come off of a hot MLP season. And so he, I believe, got a lucrative deal. I actually don't remember who he signed with, but on those things, if you had a recent medal or anything like that, I believe Dominique had recently gotten a medal, and so she also, I would go with, probably got an inflated deal at the time. However, afterwards people had to take pay cuts, and that was primarily on the MLP side?
Yeah, so I think that pretty much everyone had to take a pay cut. And then the people who did argue the pay cuts didn't really have success in not taking the pay cuts because it was for the better of the organization.
As mentioned, a bunch of these salaries were just highly inflated, where it wasn't a sustainable system to have a bunch of people getting paid millions of dollars if you don't have millions of dollars to be paying.
And the reason that people did have to take these pay cuts was because MLP got merged into the PPA.
And they're now under the umbrella company of the UPA.
Yeah.
And that's a history lesson by Camille Zilvetti and Ava Ignatowicz.
So that's the history there. However, newer players, they're coming in and signing contracts, and they're lucky if they're getting any money, really.
From my understanding is that they're moving it to a prize money structure right now, meaning that no player gets guaranteed amounts of money. So if you don't win a tournament, you're not getting paid, which, to be honest,
that's fair.
It's, yeah.
That's how it works
yeah,
in
tennis.
other sports. Yeah, that's how it works in tennis.
Yeah.
And that's totally fair. However, for people who are trying to come into the sport and make money, when you look at a sport like tennis, the prize money earning potential is so much higher than the prize money
That's true.
for pickleball.
Yeah.
You have to think there must be other ways to make money, because
What are those?
sponsorships.
Okay.
There's a lot of sponsorships in pro pickleball.
Would you say that the highest paying amount is from paddle deals?
Yeah, I would say that. I think that paddle deals are probably where the majority of pro pickleball players get their income outside of their tour salary, if they have one.
Yeah. Do you happen to have any numbers that we can throw out so that people have a reference of how much money we're talking about for pro players?
Yeah, so I'd say that the average pro player is, depending, of course, on the paddle, right? Because some companies are bigger than others. Some companies have more money to offer. I would say the average paddle deal is anything from getting your travel expenses covered to $100K a year.
Yeah, I mean, there's some other numbers where people are floating around that QD went and signed in Asia and he was talking millions, you know? Obviously, that's hearsay. Who knows how much the actual contract was for. But for players, yeah, paddle deals. And what does it actually entail to be part of a paddle deal? It means players basically get signed onto a company. They have to use the equipment for probably 1 to 3 year margins, right? That's usually the approximate amount.
Yeah.
And then they have to usually wear logos, stuff like that. Maybe have some sort of social media postings that they're required to do. A few companies require clinics, appearances in behalf of the brand to kind of like represent it, photo shoots. Any other requirements that brands usually have?
It depends on the brand, right? But they
Yeah.
could have you do like maybe 8 appearance days a year.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah. And then, yeah, as Ava mentioned, the numbers vastly vary, obviously, on your ranking. And then, would you say, is it more important to be highly ranked or being marketable as a player?
Do you mean marketable as in having a good social media presence, or being
Just
conventionally attractive, or
I'm
being
gonna go
well-spoken?
all of the above.
All
What
of
would
the
you
above?
say? What would you say are like the most important tiers if you're a player and you're like, you know what, I want to go get a paddle deal. What do you need to focus on? Like, do you need to go put some makeup on? Do you need to go drill your forehand dings? What are you doing?
It really depends. I think that it's super important in a sport like pickleball to market yourself, to grow your social media, to make sure that you're posting consistently, creating good content, because pickleball doesn't have enough viewership at the moment for every top player to get good social media traction. It just doesn't. And we see a lot of players in the top 10, in the top 15, in the top 20 with less than 3,000 followers. Compared to every other sport, it's wild.
I will say for those people, they usually, in my opinion, aren't necessarily grinding out the content. Where if you understand social media, if you're not going to be getting views by just standing there and being like, hi, here's this paddle, you should buy this paddle. You know, you have to get a little bit more creative of it. And the algorithm doesn't know you're a pro player. So if you're not saying it or broadcasting it in the right manner, maybe having good lighting, good videography, good everything, it's hard to get more traction on social media despite your results.
And in terms of how much money is being made, I can't speak for those players. I only know from our experience. And I can say from our experience that we're not out here winning gold medals, but
soon we will be.
Soon we will be. But we have found other ways through social media to make money off of pickleball.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Ava is 20x more marketable than half the people that are ranked after. If you're ranked in the top 10 to top 25, even if you're higher ranked than Ava, I think Ava's I'm choosing Ava light and day over any of the other players just because she's so marketable. She does such a good job. Like, to the consumers outside, honestly, if you're ranked 35 or if you're ranked 15, you're pretty good and you're not number one. So at that point, or not top 10, I would say. I think the difference comes when you are in the top 10. I think then you get like that like top 10 label. But outside of top 10 label, what are you? I am top 32, which is incredible. It's incredible.
Top 32.
No, but like no one's buying out a paddle because the top 32 player, which is probably beating me because maybe I'm top 50, no one cares if it's top 50 or top 32. At that point, it's purely personality, marketable. I'd say Vivian David with her smile, super marketable, stuff like that. Where it doesn't even have to be like that she's doing social media. She just on court is such a marketable person that it just performs her, like, let's call it tour ranking. Would you say bad reputations help you get sponsorships?
I would say that having a bad reputation in pickleball does help you get sponsorships.
Oh,
and
I
think that we've seen it with a lot of the players on tour.
Wait, do you want to name somebody? No.
Nope.
Okay. Yep.
I don't want to name somebody. However, some of the two most hated men on tour, reputation-wise, are getting offered extremely lucrative paddle deals because of the attention that they bring to themselves. Whereas let's say I have a paddle company, I would 100% rather sponsor someone with a huge bad reputation than someone with no reputation.
I guess the name is known. There's no such thing as bad
publicity.
Yeah. I don't know. I agree to a certain point. I think when people come in the light of like being cheaters on court, I think that's when it gets kind of dicey. I think things like crash outs.
However, a young, attractive cheater
okay, you might be on
an old, unattractive cheater.
Okay. Yeah, I guess the way you phrase it. So if you see Ava starting to hook some line calls and throwing paddles, she's taking a new approach.
I would say that the majority of pro pickleball players, other than 5 I could name off the top of my head, are not maxing out their social media potential in terms of brand deals.
Yeah. Name those 5. Let's give shout outs. Also, you know what? This seems like a really good time to give a shout out to our sponsors.
Thank you to our sponsors. So we don't have any sponsors.
Our podcast needs sponsors.
However, this is the area in the podcast where we would be shouting them out. So just pretend that we're talking about vitamin water. Pretend that we're talking about, we would have a sponsor that big. There's vitamin water. Why not?
Apple. My phone. This computer brought to you by Apple. Just kidding, Apple, pay us. But anyways,
this is our sponsor shout out. So we are shouting out nobody by nothing. Okay.
Yep. All right.
Moving on.
Yep. So, give the shout out though to the players that you think are doing a great job on social media.
Players that I think are doing a great job on social media. I'm gonna go ahead and say you. I think you are doing an excellent job on social media. Mari Humberg doing an excellent job on social media.
Yeah.
Roscoe Bellamy.
Roscoe's crushing it.
Doing more than a great job. Doing the absolute most on social media. He has a podcast. He's consistently posting tip videos.
He does YouTube. I would say for Roscoe, I would love to see more energy and more about his personality.
Yeah.
That would be my only call out for Roscoe.
Yeah.
Versus Mari, you can see her personality when she's coaching, which I think is really nice in all of her videos.
Roscoe, I think in both his podcast and his videos, he tries to be very professional.
Which is awesome, and it's a different niche than...
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I think that, because he is conventionally attractive, because he is A great
Did
coach.
Ava Ignatowicz
No, we're cutting this out now.
We're cutting this out. All right, never mind. Sorry, Roscoe.
You can't make jokes like that anymore because of Drew.
Ava's taken, by the way.
No, we're cutting all of this
All
out.
right, we're cutting this out.
I would say because Roscoe is conventionally attractive, because he is a good coach, because he Okay. I shouldn't say conventionally
You
attractive.
can say he's conventionally attractive.
Fine, I'll say the truth.
I'm not disagreeing.
He's a tall white guy.
With green eyes.
With green
jeez.
eyes. He's from a gated community.
And he's more than 6 foot tall. What else do you want?
Anyway, good job, Roscoe. Moving on. Paris Todd is doing a great job.
On social media?
On social media, I think she does a great job.
Okay. I don't think I follow her too closely. I want to say her content looks very much like it's made by the same videographer as a bunch of the other people. And for me, I have a hard time with the people that... Not to say that you shouldn't pay someone else to do your content for you, but more if it doesn't have a clear your style. Like if you're just using the preset style that a photographer, videographer is using for all your content just results like everyone else's content like that.
Well, her content is a different niche than ours. It's lifestyle content.
Yeah.
Another person who does great with their lifestyle content is Hannah Blatt. I don't think she's gone a day without posting.
Yeah.
Which
is
incredible. A very long time.
I'm always like, how does she do it? Like, it's exhausting to edit videos, come up with captions, take the videos. Like, it's honestly really impressive. And if you're trying to grow, it's kind of a numbers game where you just have to post every single day. And Hannah does exactly that, and she does a great job at it. So that's, shout out to these people. Anybody else?
Anybody else who really stands out?
Probably, you know who sometimes pops up on my feeds? Anna Bright. And not only does she have like really great tournament results, but I see her talking on Twitter all the time, which I think Twitter is underrated, where I think it's such like you actually can communicate with people. It feels much more authentic. And she's like giving out opinions like post-match. I think she released a newsletter. She's also doing kind of like the most with doing vlogs and stuff like that, which I think is super awesome. And that helps her brand beyond just winning.
Zane Navratil, Jack Monroe. Everyone in the Pro XR gang.
Yeah, Pro XR just knows how to pick them, you know?
No, but Zane Navratil does a really good job. He's also super consistent about it.
He's so consistent. He's hiring.
Wow.
Should you apply for his internship?
That would be so funny. If I was Zane's intern, that would be so cute.
I wonder if he's paying or if it's like an unpaid internship.
If it's unpaid, I would do it anyway.
Or should we both just apply?
Should we
just be like, hey Zane, we're actually really interested in this internship? You'd be like, no. You're like, no, you're not qualified.
I don't think he would hire me.
I think he would.
I think
maybe.
Yeah.
But what else do we have on here?
Let me ask you a quick question. And I want to hear your opinion on this.
Okay.
Is it worth it for a pro player to have an agent?
Oh, I have very strong opinions about this. The short answer is absolutely no. Abso-freaking-lutely no. However, the long answer, I think, is depends on the agent and depends on the deal you get with that agency. For example, do you do all of the outreach? Do you have brands reaching out to you, messaging you, saying, hey, I want to work with you, Ava Ignatowicz, and then you just pawn them off to the agent? Or is the agent going out and getting you deals? Is the agent well connected with, let's say, beauty products, and they know the CEO of Ulta Beauty? You know what? That is like valuable within itself. That might be worth it.
Let me ask you a question. Me right now. I just finished my college tennis career.
Okay.
This
is fake, Ava?
This is fake.
Okay.
I was an NCAA All-American player.
Pretty good.
I was sick. I was so sick. Back in the day.
Okay.
Last year.
Nice.
Before I graduated. And then I took up pickleball over the summer. You know, I've been grinding, just played a couple tournaments, played some qualies, made it through. You know, I'm not bad. But I want to get signed desperately by the PPA Tour. And I don't know how. Do I get an agent to help me with that, or no?
That's tough. That's tough because I think if you don't yourself, one, your tournament results should speak for themselves, period. But then at the same time, it doesn't hurt having people in your corner. And some of these agents, I actually don't really know the relationship of agents with PPA. But I would imagine if that specific agent is somebody that's, let's say, friends with the CEO of the PPA, that seems like a really good deal. However, if it's just an agent that is trying to advocate for you, I think you will never find somebody that advocates for you more than you can for yourself. Does that make sense? So I think I would say absolutely don't get an agent. I think if you don't know how to look at contracts, I think getting a good sports lawyer is really, really awesome, especially because contracts are just such a complicated thing if you're not familiar with them, even just with brand deals and stuff like that. But just having to give someone a cut of all of your deals, in my opinion, is not really the move.
So what exactly is an agent? Is an agent a lawyer?
I think that depends on the agent.
What's the purpose of an agent?
I believe it depends, again, also on the agent, but some of them are supposedly just reaching out to brands on your behalf. Other ones are trying to, let's say, negotiate appearances on your behalf, negotiate your tour contracts for you, and in hopes you would sign with an agent that is a master negotiator and you get a better deal than you could get for yourself. That's like the big idea of it. I think it depends on really where you are in your career. So for example, Jeannie Bouchard, Jack Sock, I think it makes perfect sense for them to have agents. They're probably talking about numbers significantly higher. Versus if someone is just trying to break into the pickleball world, like your Ava Ignatowicz that graduated last year, I don't necessarily know, besides for being connected to maybe one brand or a tour, I don't exactly know what purpose an agent would give. Especially if you don't have like already social media where you're just getting so many intakes that you were like, I can't handle this myself. In my opinion, the best way to go about that is one, just represent yourself. Two, you can always create an alias email for yourself. So for example, I have one of my close friends that does social media for a living, and he has a fake email that he gives out and says, this is my agent, but it's just himself, you know? And I think that's also a really good option where sometimes brands, if they reach out, they want to make it seem a bit more serious, or it makes it seem that you can get more money if you can advertise like, oh, well, good cop, bad cop. It's not my fault. Like, oh, sorry, like Camilla doesn't work with brand deals under $5 million. Sorry about it. It's not my doing. Like, I'm not allowed to pass on this information until you're able to reach this kind of money, if that makes sense.
I think there's a big negative there too, because I've also spoken to a lot of company owners who hate working with agents and would 100% rather just reach out to talent themselves.
Yeah. As some of you guys might know, my husband and I own a paddle company, 11-0, and it's been the same thing. Anytime I talk to any, let's call it talent, if they pawn me off to their agent, I'm like, oh, you're probably just trying to scheme me off a fee. You're not going to actually like listen to what I have to say. For what I'm trying to get, where it's like, oh, this is what they want. They want this amount of money. And I'm like, cool. That's really great for them because you're trying to get paid, you know? So it's a tough one.
Dang. That's disappointing to hear because I actually just recently signed with a new agent.
Is it me?
Yeah, it's you.
So I'm Ava's agent.
I'm gonna have to let you go.
Oh, yeah. I take a 0% cut off of Ava's deals. So that much. So yeah, if you could get an agent that takes 0% and is just your friend that likes negotiating with people, like I love negotiating for like life. When I travel, that's like go to a market and start haggling. I live for that. Go good cop, bad cop. Ava's good cop, I'm bad cop. Oh yeah.
What is the most that you've ever made on a brand deal?
That is a great question. So it really depends for anybody that's making content or making like doing anything in the pickleball world. There's so many different things that you can offer. You can offer UGC, which is user generated content, which usually means you don't have to post it yourself. Then there's also in-feed posts. So like if you see me posting and advertising this phone, the phone company probably paid a certain rate for me to post about it, has the partnership label and stuff like that. And then there's other things like whitelisting, where a company runs ads through your account. You can get paid a little bit extra. That also depends on what you're looking for. It might be worth it just to get eyeballs on your page. So for me personally, in my opinion, one of the best deals I got was for one video that I made. It was $2,225, which was for UGC, so I didn't even have to post it. So that was like by far my best video for like the amount of back and forths it took from me, because that's usually what it actually ends up being a lot of times, like coordinating the content brief, sending the pitch of the idea of what I'm going to do, and having them revise it, send it back, revise it again, send it back again. That usually takes up a good amount of time. But for this specific brand, it was so seamless, and that it ended up being so fast, and it was like really high value paid. And then they were paying for the rights to run ads on it, which is why it was like a little bit higher as well. So that was my best one.
Did they reach out to you, or did you reach out to them?
I have only ever gotten paid by brands that they reach out to me. And then if I reach out to brands, if I want their product or whatever, we can maybe come up with a deal of like product deal, you know? But for the most part, also, if I'm reaching out and I want the product, I'm not, in a way, I'm like, I don't want to charge about that. So it depends on the type of company and if they're asking for deliverables. I did just get, in my opinion, kind of a crazy message. This brand that's in pickleball, they have sent me clothes in the past. They just said, hey, we want to send you like a PR package. So I said, okay, here's my address. And then I posted and I tagged them in one of my more recent posts. And they replied and were like, oh, like this is so cute, whatever. Would love to send you some shoes. And I was like, sure, you know, like that's fine. You may send me shoes, kind of like they did last time, where I'm happy to post about it if it happens organically, no requirements, anything like that. They then emailed me. Did I tell you about this?
Yeah, you told me about this.
Yeah, they emailed me, and the guy, I think, was like, oh, here's like the contract for you to sign. And it was me having to post, like, within 2 weeks of getting the product, photos of their shoes. And I was like, I don't really actually want these shoes. So I replied with like, oh, like I thought this was a PR package. Here are my rates.
Did they answer about the rates?
Yeah, they sent something like, oh, like misunderstanding. And I was just like, I literally went and unfollowed them because I was like, that rubbed me the wrong way. Where I was just like, the original message was like, we want to send you this gift. And then it was like, oh, just don't mind, just sign this quick thing. But we're not actually gonna, like, we're not gonna discuss deliverables, how much you charge. We're just gonna send you this pair of, maybe had it been for like a story, I would have been like, that's like kind of the value of the shoes.
They wanted an in-feed post.
They wanted an in-feed post.
For nothing but shoes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, what on earth? I was like, this was weird. And especially weird because they have sent me stuff in the past.
Yeah.
Without any expectations, and I've been like, I liked the product, so I had posted about it. And without, anything else, I even made an in-feed post with it. Yeah, so that was kind of a crazy one where I was just like, well, that was weird. But to each their own.
I think that a good way to kind of combat that in the future is if any brand offers to send you something as like a PR thing, say maybe something along the lines of, hey, I would love your PR present. Here are my rates in case you want me to make any deliverables for you once I get the product. And just start off every relationship right off the bat with that,
like, here are the rates.
Expectation of I only do paid collaborations.
Yeah, that was just such a crazy one, since I have gotten I get PR packages all the time. And it's usually like, hi, we want to send you something. And I'm like, okay, great, here's my address. And that's kind of like the extent of the interaction. And I mean, if I like it, I will obviously post about it because I like to support businesses that want to support me. Like that's super easy. And if I don't like the product, I don't have to advertise it. So it's, great. But have you ever what's the most fun PR package you've gotten?
Probably clothing from Beach Riot.
Oh, yeah.
And
those were cute too.
It was so much back and forth too of me pretending that I wanted to be paid for a collaboration when I really just wanted the clothes and didn't want to make a video for them.
I actually just got sent a new camera, and they were gonna pay me on top of it, but I had reached out, and that was one where I was like, no, like I reached out, I actually like want the product, like don't worry about the payment, like I'm like excited to work with this. It wasn't like a big payment, but you know, but it was just one of those things where I was just like, no, and they were like, oh, that's so sweet, like we'll pay for expedited shipping, and like that's fine with me, you know, especially when like I'm the one reaching out. I feel weird being like, hey, by the way, I want your really expensive product and I want you to pay me. It's like, no. I also strongly feel that I don't want to turn my entire feed into ads.
Yeah, it's not a good idea to monetize at the expense of growth usually.
Yeah. So how much percentage of your content do you think is okay to have it be ads?
I think depending on obviously how much you post, 1 to 2 collaboration posts a month would be fine with me.
If you post every day?
If you
only post twice a month?
Even if you only post twice a month, I think it's fine to do 1 to 2 a month, because as long as I'm not on my Instagram seeing every single day that you posted an ad, like I won't get annoyed if it's 1 to 2 times a month. If it's every day, I'm going to get annoyed.
Yeah. Agreed.
This was a very, very interesting discussion. I think we're definitely going to continue this.
We're going to touch upon next time maybe the numbers of what people trying to break into pro pickleball looks like. Are they able to make ends meet? And how are they doing it?
Beats me. I'm getting paid and I'm not making ends meet.
All right.
But yeah, no, we'll talk about that in a serious time.
Paddles in the air, let's make a sound.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in.
Deuces. Goodbye.
Courts alive, the vibe is real. Pickleball life is the ultimate deal. Balls deep, we go, no holding back. On the court or in the chat. Life's a rally, let's keep the streak. Balls deep, every single week. Stories served with the perfect slice. Life in sports will break the ice. Pros with moves and tells to tell. In this game we all excel. Balls deep, we go, no holding back. Balls deep, every single week.